The first official reviews have come out for James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water, and so far, it's being hailed as a great sequel from the director of Aliens and Terminator 2. There have been lots of reactions following the world premiere, praising its stunning VFX and surprisingly better characters, so I'm going to be breaking down all of it in this video. Before I get into all the reviews though, if you want to see loads more content on Avatar 2 when it releases later next week, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. But without further ado, let's discuss the official reviews and reactions for Avatar 2. So was Avatar: The Way of Water worth all the wait? Well, according to the first social media reviews that arrived last night, following the world premiere of the film in London, the critics have said that the movie more than lives up to all the hype, and they specifically praise the incredible visuals, but also claim that the 3D, the characters, and the amazing third act really elevate this film beyond the original. Now I have to note that these reviews won't mean anything when it comes to the wider audience who will see the film next week, and at the end of the day, it's all down to your specific reaction to the film. Of course, it's great when you hear really positive reactions from others, but when we all get to watch it, I'm sure we're going to have different takes ourselves. But still, it's good to get an early consensus around what people are saying, especially those who have actually seen the movie and aren't just saying it's going to be bad before they even watch it. So speaking of those people who got to see Avatar 2, what are they saying and what are the highlights surrounding their early reactions? Coming to the positive side of things, and to be honest with you, much of the reactions have been extremely positive. Tom Page said, "Avatar: The Way of Water is more writ large. It's more beautiful, more in awe of Pandora, more vocal in its environmentalism, more damning of humans. It's an adrenaline shot to 3D filmmaking and an uncompromising doubling down. You'd expect nothing less from James Cameron." Eric Davis also said, "Happy to say Avatar: The Way of Water is phenomenal. Bigger, better and more emotional than Avatar, the film is visually breathtaking, visceral and incredibly engrossing. The story, the spectacle, the spirituality, the beauty, this is movie making and storytelling at its absolute finest." This is James Cameron leaning right into that James Cameron playbook. There are Titanic vibes, True Lies vibes, Abyss vibes, Terminator 2 vibes. It is Cameron in top form, matching tremendous visuals with a very entertaining and emotional story that leaves you wanting more. I felt similar after Avatar: The Way of Water than I did after Top Gun Maverick, in that it reminds you why we love movies and why we anticipate big spectacle on the big screen. When it lands on all levels, there's nothing sweeter. This one entertains big time, truly a memorable ride. Sean O'Connell added, "Never bet against Jim Cameron. His Avatar: The Way of Water surpasses the original on every level. Incredible visuals, but a much more emotional connection to the characters and story. The final hour is Cameron flexing every muscle, reminding blockbuster filmmakers how it's done." Perry Nemerov gave her positive review as well, saying, "Avatar: The Way of Water is pretty incredible. I had faith James Cameron would raise the bar with the effects, but these visuals are mind-blowing. One stunning frame after the next, but the thing I dug the most is how the technical feats always feel in service of character and world building. As for the story, it's a lot of movie and I'm eager for a second viewing to revisit some details, but on first watch, it's a mighty effective exploration of community and family dynamics. Returning cast is great, but the newcomers are major standouts, particularly Britton Dalton as Loak. And yes, this did make me want to see more Avatar movies. I would also like a whole lot more of Cliff Curtis's Tonowari. Mike Ryan put, "Avatar: The Way of Water, yeah, never bet against James Cameron. Trying to spare hyperbole, but I've never seen anything like this from a technical visual standpoint. It's overwhelming, maybe too overwhelming. Sometimes I'd miss plot points because I'm staring at a Pandora fish. Someone texted me, "What's the most visually impressive part of the movie?" and I responded, "The whole thing." Also, I rewatched the first Avatar over the weekend and basically settled on that was fine. The sequel has much better and deeper character development. Oh, and last thing, this is the first movie I've ever seen use of the high frame rate trick that I've actually liked. Yeah, leave it to James Cameron to crack that one. Also, JoBlo.com put their thoughts up too, saying, "Just saw Avatar: The Way of Water, will certainly divide people as there are some cheesy bits, but James Cameron is a master and you really do utterly invest in the characters and nothing else comes close to being this immersive. I was cool on the original, but I loved this." Jake Hamilton further put, "As someone who liked but didn't love the first Avatar, let me tell you, Avatar: The Way of Water blew me away. Vastly superior in visuals, storytelling and performances, the sequel left my jaw on the ground for the entire runtime. James Cameron is the god of sequels." And finally, Drew Taylor wrote, "Have now seen Avatar twice and am overwhelmed by both its technical mastery and unexpectedly intimate emotional scope. Yes, the world is expanded and sequels teased, but the characters are the most important. Cameron is in top form, especially in the final act. It's good to have him back." Now, there were also a few mixed reviews that came out too, and while these reviews did focus on the positive, they also noted some things that they didn't love in contrast to a lot of the reactions I've already highlighted. Ian Sandwell posted, "Unsurprisingly, Avatar: The Way of Water is a visual masterpiece with rich use of 3D and breathtaking vistas. It does suffer from a thin story and too many characters to juggle, yet James Cameron pulls it together for an extraordinary final act full of emotion and thrilling action." Scott Mann said, "Avatar: The Way of Water is breathtakingly beautiful with the most incredible VFX I have ever seen. I saw it in 3D. The story itself is weaker than the first and feels drawn out at 3 hours and 10 minutes, but it's always great to look at and the last hour is amazing." And finally, Brandon Davis said, "Avatar: The Way of Water is a never-ending visual spectacle. It's a better, more complex story than the first, with solid emotion, but the characters could grow a bit more. It's definitely long, running on incredible visuals and techniques which are 3D's best." So from looking at that list of reviews, it's quite hard to tell what the consensus is on the story. Many have critiqued the original Avatar for its story and characters, but the early reactions to this sequel suggest that some were pleasantly surprised by those elements, while a few said that it's either worse than the original or on the same level. You know that I personally like the story and characters in the first Avatar, even if it wasn't the most original when it comes to writing, so I can't really say what the consensus is surrounding the story. I have heard a few who have said that if you didn't like the story the first time, then you won't this time, but that the sheer spectacle and final act of the film really delivers in spades. Also, it is great to hear that this film is reminding people of the cinematic experience in the way that Top Gun Maverick did earlier on in the year, potentially delivering a movie that elevates the filmmaking and also maybe the storytelling from the first, and essentially gives us another great James Cameron sequel. I did also see a lot of praise for the new characters, mainly in Jake and Neytiri's children, so that is really good news when it comes to Avatar 3 and the films that might follow. But overall, it seems like Avatar: The Way of Water is stunning the critics and a lot of people who doubted James Cameron, even after all the success and great films he's put to screen in the decades that have passed. You know that I'm not one of those doubters, and I've been saying for quite a while that this filmmaker truly takes the time to bring something bold and immensely cinematic to screen, and it seems like for now, most critics are blown away by the experience of Avatar 2. We'll have to see how the audience reacts and if the box office is truly set alight by Cameron, but as I said, this is nothing but great news for those like myself who've been anticipating a new James Cameron sequel. And putting it in sequel terms, who really should have doubted James Cameron anyway? But they were the first official reviews for James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water. Like I said before, everyone's individual reaction is the most important, and a review score shouldn't really change that. But with all these positive reviews coming out, it's great to hear the early enthusiasm towards the film, and hopefully others will enjoy it when they get a chance to see it. I myself will be seeing the film next week, and I will be giving you my extended thoughts here on the channel, alongside covering it in depth with breakdowns, so make sure to keep a lookout for whenever I post. But let me know down below in the comment section what you personally think towards the early reviews and reactions, and whether it gets you even more excited for the release of James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water. For lots more videos surrounding Avatar 2 during its release, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.